Cindy loved adventures. She dreamt of exploring deep, mysterious forests. She read every book about daring quests. Cindy knew all the best stories, but Cindy lived with her stepmother and stepsisters. They were not very nice. They made Cindy clean and sew all day long. No time for adventures, her stepmother would snap. But Cindy never stopped dreaming. One sunny afternoon, a bird flew in through the window. It carried a tiny envelope in its beak. The bird dropped the envelope right at Cindy's feet. It was addressed to Cindy in shining gold ink. Cindy's heart beat quickly with excitement. Cindy carefully opened the tiny envelope. It was an invitation. The Forest Fairy Queen was having a grand ball. The invitation was edged in shimmering gold dust. Cindy had never seen anything so beautiful. She couldn't wait to go. She ran to show her stepmother. "A ball for forest fairies?" her stepmother scoffed. "Don't be ridiculous, you have chores to do," her stepsisters giggled. "Imagine Cindy at a fairy ball," they shrieked. Cindy's heart sank. She knew they would never let her go. Cindy went to the garden, clutching the invitation. The delicate paper felt heavy in her hands, as if it carried the weight of all her dreams and desires. She had never received anything so beautiful, so full of promise. She felt tears welling up in her eyes. The thought of missing the grand ball where everyone would be dressed in their finest was almost too much to bear. She had always dreamed of such an event, a night where she could be someone else, even if just for a few hours. She so badly wanted to go to the ball. It wasn't just about the beautiful gowns or the enchanting music. It was about the chance to escape her everyday life, to feel special and cherished. She imagined herself twirling on the dance floor, the center of attention, if only for a moment. Suddenly, she heard a soft chirp. It was a sound that always brought her comfort, a reminder that she was never truly alone. Her animal friends were gathered around her. They had a way of sensing when she was feeling down, and they always came to offer their support. There was Rosie the robin, Chester the squirrel, and Bartholomew the badger. Each one had their own unique way of showing they cared, and together they formed a little family that Cindy cherished deeply. They had always been there for her. Through thick and thin, they had stood by her side, offering comfort and companionship when she needed it most. "Don't worry, Cindy," chirped Rosie. Her voice was soft but filled with determination. "We won't let you miss this opportunity. We'll help you go to the ball." Chester nodded in agreement. His little eyes sparkled with excitement, and his tail twitched with enthusiasm. "We'll find a way," he squeaked. Chester was always the optimist, always ready to take on a challenge, no matter how daunting it seemed. Bartholomew patted her hand with his paw. His touch was gentle but firm, a silent promise that they would figure this out together. "Leave it to us," he grunted. Bartholomew was the steady rock of the group, always reliable and full of wisdom. Cindy felt a glimmer of hope. Her friend's unwavering support began to lift her spirits, and she started to believe that maybe, just maybe, they could make this happen. Maybe, just maybe, she could go to the ball after all. With her friends by her side, anything seemed possible. The garden, once a place of solitude, now felt like a haven of possibilities and dreams waiting to be realized. As the sun began to set, a soft glow filled Cindy's room. The golden hues of the setting sun cast long shadows, creating a serene and magical atmosphere. Cindy, who had been feeling a bit down, looked out the window and sighed. Little did she know, her evening was about to take a wondrous turn. Suddenly, a tiny, sparkling figure hovered in midair. It was a fairy. The fairy's wings fluttered rapidly, creating a gentle breeze that made Cindy's curtains sway. The fairy's glow illuminated the room, making everything look even more enchanting. "Greetings, Cindy," the fairy said with a twinkle in her eye. Her voice was soft and melodious, like the tinkling of tiny bells. Cindy's eyes widened in amazement as she took in the sight of the magical creature before her. "I am your fairy god guide," the fairy continued, her aura shimmering with every word. She made a graceful gesture with her tiny hand, leaving a trail of sparkling dust in the air. "I have been sent to help you attend the Forest Fairy Queen's ball. This is a very special event, and you have been chosen to be a part of it." Cindy's heart raced with excitement at the thought of attending such a magical event. The fairy god guide waved her tiny hand, and with a flick of her wrist, she began to cast a spell. The air around her shimmered with magic, and Cindy could feel the energy in the room change. A beautiful gown shimmered into existence. It floated gently down to Cindy's bed, its fabric glistening in the evening light. Cindy gasped at the sight of the gown, unable to believe her eyes. It was the colour of moonlight, adorned with sparkling dewdrops. The gown seemed to capture the essence of the night sky, with tiny stars twinkling in its fabric. Cindy reached out to touch it, feeling the cool, smooth texture under her fingers. Beside it lay a pair of crystal slippers that shimmered like rainbows. The slippers were delicate and beautiful, reflecting the light in a myriad of colours. Cindy could hardly wait to try them on. "These are enchanted gifts," the fairy god guide explained. "They have been specially crafted for you to ensure that you have the most magical experience at the ball. They will help you blend in at the ball." The fairy god guide's eyes sparkled with kindness as she spoke. "Remember, Cindy, these gifts are not just for show. They hold powerful magic that will protect you and make your night unforgettable." Cindy nodded, feeling a sense of gratitude and wonder. She knew that this was a night she would never forget. Section 5. Ready for the ball. Cindy slipped into the gown. It fit perfectly, hugging her curves just right. She felt like a princess, ready to conquer the night. She put on the crystal slippers, which gleamed like stars. They sparkled with every step. The fairy god guide smiled warmly. "You look lovely, Cindy," she said with a twinkle in her eye. "Now remember, the magic will only last until midnight," she warned. "You must be home before then, no exceptions." Cindy promised she would be back in time no matter what. With a wave of the fairy god guide's hand, they were whisked away to the Forest Fairy Queen's ball, a night to remember. Section 6. A prince, not a party. The forest clearing was ablaze with lights, casting a warm, enchanting glow over everything. The air was filled with the soft hum of magic, making the entire scene feel like a dream. Fairies danced merrily to enchanting music, their delicate wings shimmering in the light. The music was unlike anything Cindy had ever heard, a melody that seemed to come from the very heart of the forest. Cindy had never seen anything so magical. She felt as if she had stepped into a storybook where every corner held a new wonder waiting to be discovered. She wandered through the crowd, her eyes wide with wonder. Everywhere she looked, there were fantastical creatures and dazzling displays of light and colour. A young man approached her, his presence almost as magical as the surroundings. He moved with a grace that seemed to belong to the forest itself. He had kind eyes and a warm smile. "Hello," he said, his voice gentle and inviting. "I haven't seen you here before," he continued, his eyes twinkling with curiosity. "Are you enjoying the ball?" he asked. "It's wonderful," Cindy exclaimed, her excitement bubbling over. "I'm Cindy." The young man smiled. "I'm Orion, the Queen's son," he said, his tone both humble and proud. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Cindy," he added, his smile growing warmer. They talked for hours, sharing stories and laughter. Cindy felt an instant connection with Orion, as if they had known each other for years. Cindy learned that Orion loved adventure too. They spoke of their dreams and aspirations, finding common ground in their love for exploring the unknown. As the night went on, they walked through the forest together, hand in hand, discovering hidden nooks and secret paths. They found a quiet spot by a glowing pond where they sat and talked about their favorite adventures and the places they wished to visit. The stars above twinkled brightly, as if they were listening to their conversation and blessing their newfound friendship. Cindy and Orion looked up at the sky, feeling a sense of wonder and possibility. The night was filled with magic, and so were their hearts. As the night came to an end, they reluctantly said their goodbyes, promising to meet again. Cindy knew that this was just the beginning of a wonderful adventure. She walked away with a smile, her heart light and full of hope for the future. Cindy was having such a wonderful time that she almost forgot about the time. Suddenly, the sound of a clock chiming made her jump. It was almost midnight. "Oh no!" she exclaimed. I must go. Thank you for everything, Orion." And with a hurried goodbye, she raced out of the clearing, her crystal slippers clicking on the forest floor. She ran as fast as she could, desperate to get home before the magic wore off. As she ran, she didn't notice the small silver compass fall from her pocket. It lay forgotten on the forest floor, glimmering faintly in the moonlight. The next morning, Cindy woke up in her own bed. The magical gown and slippers were gone. Had it all been a dream? Then she remembered Orion and their conversations. It had all felt so real. She reached into her pocket for the small silver compass the fairy god guide had given her. But it was gone. Cindy searched everywhere, but the compass was nowhere to be found. She was heartbroken. It was a reminder of the magical night and her new friend. "Don't worry, Cindy," Rosie chirped, landing on her shoulder. "We'll help you find it." Just then, there was a knock at the door. Cindy couldn't believe her eyes. Standing on her doorstep was Orion. He held up a small silver object. It was her compass. "I found this in the clearing," Orion explained. "I thought it might belong to you." Cindy was overjoyed. "Orion, it's you! You found it!" she exclaimed. Orion smiled. "I was hoping I might find you again," he admitted. "I was wondering, would you like to come on a real adventure with me?" Cindy's heart leaped. This was a dream come true. "Yes, I'd love to," she cried. And so began Cindy's greatest adventure yet. She and Orion explored hidden waterfalls and climbed the tallest trees. They helped lost animals find their way home and shared stories with everyone they met. Cindy learned that true adventures were even better with a friend. And as for Orion, he discovered that a girl who loved adventures was the bravest and kindest person he knew. Together they brought joy and laughter wherever they went, proving that even the most ordinary life could be filled with extraordinary adventures.